Hello everyone and welcome to episode 160 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week I'm joined by Keo.
Hey everyone.
And Cameron.
Hello, nice to be back.
Live and with a working computer. It is, to be fair, it is so much easier having a computer that actually fucking works. Having said that, now that I've said that, halfway through the show the computer will die again, I'm sure.
I enjoy usually like jerry-rigging, MacGyvering the whole situation.
Holy shit! Trying to get that like laptop hooked up to a light source, trying to get the thing, and then moving the camera. It was like behind the snes was crazy. Which
Remember
is why
the easy times when we did an audio podcast and people just had to clap at the count of three?
Oh,
and remember to press record.
Yeah, that was half the reason I bought Zoom was just fucking people forgetting to record. God, having to match up those audio, that was the fucking caveman times right there. How you guys doing? Kia, how have you been, Matt? I know you've had a bit of some sore back.
I had a beauty sleep this afternoon.
Yeah, bit of a nap.
Bit of a sore tailbone today. That's not my back problem, but apparently referred pain, happens a lot when nerves happen. It goes everywhere.
Wonderful.
At different times. So, good and bad days, but I'm good. So, yeah.
Cameron, what about you?
Yeah, I've just been playing games. Actually completing games this year.
Yeah, I've been very impressed. Let's
see if the traction picks up next month.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to take each week as it comes, right?
Yeah.
I'm now gainfully employed once again. For those who've been following along with the saga, I signed my new contract today, and we'll be back to work in a week or so. So I got about a week off to burn through as many games as possible. But let's get into the show. As always, we do the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. If you want to help support us, you can give us your Twitch Primes, and you want to watch the show live, you can jump in like Zach is right now and ask questions and comment. And we try to refer to the chat as much as we can and try and be dynamic while we're recording. But otherwise, I don't really think we have any community questions. I know that Isaac and Cavalier and a few others are all very, very busy at the moment. So let's get into the news. Cameron, there's some interesting news this week. What have you found for us?
Yeah, so where do we want to begin?
I want to hear about this AI thing because I want to pull it to pieces immediately.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
Okay. So Microsoft is introducing an Xbox AI that will help players finish games. Copilot for Gaming is described as an AI-driven sidekick which is designed to be your personalized gaming companion. Players will be able to use the service to get to their favorite games faster, get coaching to improve their skills, and connect to their friends. During the latest episode of the official Xbox podcast, an early prototype of Copilot for Gaming was demonstrated, including an in-game assistance feature, which lets players ask for help while still in the game. An example showing during the video, a Minecraft player picked up some wood, then entered a text prompting, "Okay, I've got some wood. What can I do with that?" Copilot for Gaming then replied by telling the player to open the inventory, place the oak logs, turn them into wooded planks. There's also another example where for Age of Empires 4... Oh, sorry. I want to get back to Age of Empires 4. Can you install it? The AI then installs the game for the player and offers to give a recap of what happened the last time they played the game. It continues on with a few more examples and that.
But you kind of get the gist, right? It's like an AI. It's Clippy for video games. Hey, I see you suck at Age of Empires. You want some help? I was like, yes, Copilot, I would like some help because I'm terrible at Age of Empires.
I think I've tried to exit out of the game of Splitgate 1,047 times.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, Clippy, take over.
Oh, I see you've lost your cloud save. Let me automatically restore that.
Yeah, exactly right, yeah. I see you managed to get a copy of Alan Wake remastered. Let's just take care of that right away. I get what they're going for here, and this very much sounds like the promise that the Stadia had back in the day, right? This was their whole thing where it was like, you can like jump in between stuff, or like when you see a thing on like YouTube, you can like jump into the game and like this whole like cloud streaming thing and like, buy stuff within the stuff. And like, I don't know, like this, it seems like an interesting idea. No one seems to like Copilot in general, but I have big problems with AI as a concept. So I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts?
I'll let you start, Cameron.
there's multiple ways you can take this.
Sure.
Okay, so I use AI in my current position as a brainstorming tool
Sure.
to get me like 20% there on the tracks and then formulate an idea based on that in terms of content creation and like just structuring my thoughts, right?
Yeah.
It's like having a I work remotely, having a conversation with a co-worker
A
to plan
co-pilot
out.
even, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how I typically use AI. For this, if this is a feature that I can like make achievement hunting better for me,
Yeah.
I mean like if this is a tool that gets me to a guide quicker or
Sure.
something, then
That sounds
I'm all
kind of like
for
what it is, yeah.
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
If this
okay.
is a Clippy situation of Clippy popping up and being like, "Hey, do you need help with this?" Unprompted, then it's going to get frustrating pretty quick. And I'll use an example of like Xbox Ingenuity. What's the right word?
Ingenuity?
Ingenuity?
Yeah, Ingenuity. Yeah. Sorry,
Charcuterie?
pronunciation. Zombie Army Trilogy.
Yes.
How many times have you come across of it just automatically recording the clip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
True.
things don't need to exist.
Yeah.
So
These strict controls for sure.
I mean, we had Cortana, right?
We did kind of, yeah. That didn't go over super well. I mean, they also had Windows phones at the same time, so
Yes, they did. Yeah.
rest in peace. Kia, what you got any thoughts?
So, there is a similar kind of function on the PlayStation 5 where they have like an overlay for in-game, and it tells you in the back end whenever you load up a game, it's like, overlay guides and stuff are available for the game,
Right.
for this game. So, and pretty much it does pull clips and different things from different places to give you, assistance. So it looks like they're combating what PlayStation has got in terms of accessibility. But I mean, if it is something that makes games easier for people to play, they will get abused by achievement hunters and, different ways, like in all kinds of ways, right? There's going to be, yeah, but other than that, like, this is fine if it helps people play games when they can't play games. It's just like, hey, Katana, I'm having trouble doing, getting over this jump. Can you do it for me? Or something like that. Or it's like, what's the best way to get over this jump or something? Show me
How do I solve this puzzle?
You know, exactly right. So, yeah. So, which is fine. But as long as it doesn't go too far in, the completing games for people.
Yeah, which I don't.
direction.
Again, I think
So,
that will happen. I think at some stage, but But I think that's another bridge.
yeah.
I was gonna say even like just thinking back to the most recent game I completed, which is Doom Eternal. There's some platforming situation. I felt like such a dumbass yesterday because I was doing DLC 1 again for what is it?
Old gods or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Ancient gods.
Very start of the third mission for that. There's a platforming section that I just could not get, even though I'd done it like 2-3 days before, and you just have to angle yourself upwards. But I needed to look up a guide just to be like, am I just failing at this or what's it?
Well,
So
it's interesting. Like one of the examples they gave was like in a multiplayer game, you can like the AI can like tell you like what you did wrong. So you can be like, hey, like what did I fuck up here? And it was like, oh, you overcommitted here, or like, or one of the examples they gave was like Overwatch, where they're like, oh, hey, I normally play this hero who's a good complementary hero, now that person is taken, and they give another suggestion.
Right.
Now, anyone who knows anything about AI knows that AI kind of isn't really what it's one of these like oversold things that doesn't actually work. It's like it's a language model, right? Like it's very much like shit's built in SQL. It runs a query. It looks up some relevant information and then tries to display it to you in a way that sounds less like a Google search and more like a conversation.
yeah.
Now, Microsoft obviously has a huge amount of computing process with cloud and everything like that, so they have a good opportunity to kind of leverage maybe more than most companies. But like, who's verifying the accuracy of this data? Is my question. Like that's the thing. I was like yeah, exactly. If you're asking your multiplayer thing, it's like, oh, hey, what did I do wrong? He's like, oh, you should pick this. This is the meta. And I was like, well, where's I getting that information from?
I was gonna say leading back to the Overwatch example, like characters, like live action games like that get buffs and nerfs all the time.
Exactly.
It's going to be a case of how relevant is this information? Is there going to be any way to check the relevancy of this information? Like, going back to Doom Eternal again, I used Macca's guide for the DLC 1, and I did a particular game mode that spawned an invisible wall for one of the collectibles.
Oh,
so that
shit.
resulted in playthroughs.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't
Yes.
too happy about that, but
Fair.
I mean, it is what it is. But like, what's going to be the most relevant information? Majority of the time, it's probably going to be guides and that around release.
Sure. Yeah, that's
So-
kind. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point. Like, I think that at least with a Google search, you can look up when the guide was made, who made it, how many people have like, are there any comments on it? But it's like when an AI model is essentially force feeding you that answer, and that's the only answer you get.
Yeah.
Like when ChatGPT gives fake answers for like math problems all the time, because it's not used like it's not.
Yeah.
Again, like the understanding of what AI actually is, and like Allison talks about this all the time because obviously she works in data, and this is like drives her fucking insane. The fact that we call it AI at all when it's not really artificial intelligence in any way, shape, or form. But I think this is an interesting concept. But I think I get the feeling that this is going to be something that does not go anywhere significant.
Well, I'm already getting frustrated to the point like Google having the top results be the what you expect the answer and not what you do your own.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, I mean, with gaming, we've seen it with Redfall, right? Where like we had some really early guides. Like I'd even done a guide for that, and then they'd updated the game to have the Gravelock in a different location.
Yeah.
Like people going back to an old guide would only know where it is based on the.
And the AI is only going to have the information, and so like if it's a very popular guide, and I'm assuming the idea is that the AI would look for whatever's the most relevant piece of content.
Yeah.
And if it's something that's like super upvoted on Reddit, or if it's something that's very very widely seen videos, again because the criteria is a black box as well as the like authenticity of it, it just seems like it's rife for issues, and I get the feeling that a lot of people are not going to really want to engage with it. Like unless Microsoft starts putting out guides for their own games, or they start supporting this idea of this model by making like access to databases for this stuff. But
well, they had that thing a little while ago where they restricted third-party devices on the console as well, right?
Yeah.
So like, what's going to happen with this when all the community data that comes through is the thing that's driving the AI platform?
Well, not to get too off topic, but I don't know if you guys saw the OpenAI thing today.
No.
Where they were basically like, oh yeah, if we don't have access to all of like everyone's information as fair use, then the dream of AI is basically dead. Is what they literally came out and said that.
The corporate dream of AI.
The corporate dream of AI. Basically, they're like, I was like, oh yeah, if we have to pay for any of this stuff, then we can't do it. I was like, oh well, maybe you shouldn't be fucking doing it then. Anyway, so yeah, I think AI is one of those things that like, and I'd love to be wrong in like 10 years and someone clips this or whatever, but like it seems like the kind of thing where it's like we still have a very very long way to go.
I feel like we're, as far as technology goes, we're in a very much testing stage of like where are the applications for AI and where are the positive benefits.
Well, I mean, at this point, like there's.
I don't see.
It's not making any money.
Yeah, going back to gaming a few weeks ago, like using it to, potentially release prior games.
Yeah, like in terms of like upscaling and porting and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like benefits I can see there, but like stuff like this, I just don't.
Anything as generative is kind of like.
Yeah, solving the problems we haven't been able to
alternative.
solve yet.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it has like a massive consumption of water, right?
Yes, it's hugely power consumption.
Environmentally bad.
Yeah, environmentally very, very bad because it relies on so much supercomputing for what is not really a lot of benefit. Anyway, I mean, like I'm sure they'll get there, but I think it's like, even again, Alison likes to talk about this a lot, so we have a lot of conversations around like where our AI is going and the idea that like what was that quote, Alison, about AI about it not making any money?
It has no shareholder value.
Yeah, so I think it very much feels like a smoke and mirrors kind of like it reminds me of the 1950s dream of nuclear powered cars and robot butlers and that, like the Fallout thing, right? Where, like, yeah, the world where they were like, oh, this amazing new technology is going to change the world, and some of it did, but a lot of it did not.
Yeah.
Anyway, something that might change the world is Microsoft. They're like, oh, hey, that thing we were talking about, how we have like a handheld in like early development? Yeah, they might be like this year, apparently. Maybe? I don't know. There's some rumors going around. I saw a couple of people talking about it, but Cameron, do you have any more details?
All right. So first, Xbox Portable could launch later this year as part of the Microsoft initiative to unify Windows and Xbox game offerings. According to The Verge, which claims that Microsoft is working on a handheld with manufacturer ASUS called Project Canon. Is it Keenan or Canon?
Kanan? Keenan and Cal in the afternoon?
Yeah,
I'm
that's the only thing I can think of.
Des had one, and then The Verge corrected it
Huh.
because it was like a letter off.
Right,
Anyway,
I see, yeah.
Aims to offer a universal library of Xbox and PC games. ASUS's Xbox-branded handheld could debut later this year, but because any such launch is reliant on Microsoft's platform work, timelines could change. Platform workers reportedly codenamed Project Bayside and aimed to deliver a common Xbox UI across Microsoft devices to help combine Windows and Xbox. The alleged plans follow comments from Microsoft's VP of Next Generation, Jason Ronald, who said earlier this year that any future handheld device would combine the best of Xbox and Windows. I would say it's bringing the best of Xbox and Windows together because we have spent the last 20 years building a world-class operating system, but is really locked to the console. What we're doing is we're really focusing on how do we bring those experiences for both the players and developers to the broader Windows ecosystem. I didn't include it here, but I think Windows Central actually went into more details of what in terms of it would look like. Essentially, it's a ROG ally.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it's interesting that like Asus is like they already have something in market for this. So
I was going to say why change it? But yeah, like the ROG ally. In terms of like operating system being OS first, it's probably going to be Xbox Play Anywhere titles.
Makes sense.
And not Xbox native games.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a like if this was a true proper Xbox console like operating system handheld, I would day one buy it. But if I'm getting like essentially a ROG ally with Windows that can only play Game Pass Ultimate games or
I guess.
Anywhere titles,
well, I guess because they are expanding the cloud streaming to like some non Game Pass titles, but it's still a very like it's definitely not all of our libraries by any means.
It's way too slow for me to justify a purchase. This like
agreed.
If this is releasing say like December 2025, why would I purchase it if there's only like 100 titles in there outside? I mean, there's going to be a Game Pass Ultimate and all that, but like I want access to my library. I'm
assuming that a release of this would probably have to coincide with a big, maybe not all of them, but a big glut of like a big initiative to push a bunch more games onto that to make it a more worthwhile prospect. Because
we're really only seeing the new stuff being added to Play Anywhere that you own.
Exactly, right? Like, and to be fair, like I understand why, right? Like you want to add your big popular titles so people can play them using cloud, using your systems, but they again, at the end of the day, they're competing with Steam, right? And they're going to have a really good offering. It's also need to be like priced pretty competitively, I would say.
I'm just wondering at the end of the day, is this just going to be a ROG ally? Like, is this just going to look like an Xbox branded ROG ally where you do have access to Steam and all that because
it runs a window OS, Yeah.
I mean, they've had You go.
I was gonna say, it brings me back to my problem a few weeks back of like, I don't want a system where developers think like, all right, well, I can release on Xbox just because I'm releasing on Steam, and then we don't get Xbox branded achievements and
exactly.
8-Bit Doe just released a keyboard and mouse Xbox themed and has no Xbox marketing on it whatsoever.
I mean, well, what is it? They did Microsoft did some like co-branding with, I think it was Lenovo, with their Legion PCs, which actually
is it the Minecraft one?
Well, no, they did a few different things. They did like a Game Pass
Yeah.
Ultimate thing, and they've done some like
Yeah,
cross promotional stuff to try and keep in the gaming sphere with like PC Game Pass and
Mm.
things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really curious of like how much of this is Xbox and how much of it is just branding. Be very curious, especially if it's coming out this year when Phil Spencer's like, oh yeah, we're still a few years away from like a proper handheld. Is this just another cross marketing opportunity they're just kind of trying to leverage?
Yeah.
All right,
I don't know. I feel like this is a wait and see.
very much
I
so.
don't see the benefits at the moment. That's the problem. Like I've barely touched my ROG Ally.
Yeah, and like I travel a decent amount. Like, but like I've got a tablet for my birthday. I'm like, I'll probably use that more than I would a portable PC at this stage, just for like streaming stuff. Like, cause I have like a laptop if I want something like more powerful. I have a desktop if I really want to crank something up. But I don't know. Like, it's like we've talked about before. Like the niche market of where a handheld PC needs to be these days is a bit of an interesting one given Microsoft's like
Yeah.
push into cloud.
Yeah, and you start talking about new consoles, people be like, "Oh, I'll wait and see what the new console's like first."
Speaking of which, apparently we got a couple of rumors about that as well. So apparently the next Xbox is like in full production and it's coming out 2027, which is probably about right. It maybe a little earlier than I was expecting, but not by much.
It's been seven. It'll be 7 years if it
That's
releases.
About on par with expectations.
About 7,
and
yeah,
based
because
on the
usually about 8
reports
years or so. So 7 years is
from
probably
the
about right.
leaks and stuff.
Because Xbox One was 2013.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there was
And then
2020.
2005. 360.
The 360 was the end of 2005. Yeah, November 2005.
So about 7 to 8 years has always been.
Yeah, the
much the norm.
360 had a slightly longer life cycle just because of all kinds of fucking. Because again, there was a whole thing around like, were consoles even going to be a thing? And that turns out they were, so they kind of had to rush it. But yeah, it's sort of 7 to 8 year life cycle for a console. But it barely feels like we've fucking gotten started with the series at console. I really don't feel like it's been put through its paces at all.
I don't know about yours, but I still think the best feature we've gotten this generation is just being my quick resume.
I hate quick resume. I have no
I
use for quick resume.
hate it. It is.
It's
yeah.
awful.
I
I
love
wish I could disable it. I think it's the worst feature that they came up with.
Yeah.
I understand the reasoning behind it, but it's so inconsistent, and the fact that it's just absolutely not. I can't stand quick resume.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, like it's just been so beneficial to me.
I mean, like I like, to be fair, like the power of these consoles with their like fast load times and SSDs, I think that is probably the most useful thing that's come out of this. It's just like the like load times in games are basically almost non-existent for the most part.
Yeah. There are lots of reports of quick resume breaking achievements. Too.
That is also the other reason I'm not a huge fan of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try and load a Call of Duty game on Xbox One.
Call of Duty is the exception. That game is bloated to just insane amounts.
Yeah.
But I don't even think quick resume doesn't even help with that because that's server side stuff. That's the other thing with quick resume is obviously it doesn't work with anything that has a live service connection, really.
Which you should not be playing anyway.
You shouldn't be because they're all trash. Yeah.
I shouldn't be saying shit. All right, let's get into this. So, is there any real news here?
Not really. Just basically that they said they're doing it. They've confirmed it. Like it's coming out 2027.
Whoa! Consoles aren't dead. We did it, guys.
They did promise they were going to do at least one more. So I guess we'll see. Let's spitball. Do we think they're doing the 2-tier thing again? Are they doing? They're not making that same mistake again, are they? There's no way they're doing a Series S and a Series X version, right? Like there's.
If they can market the handheld as the Series S.
There you go. Actually, that's the right answer. Actually, very smart. Yeah.
I'm really sad that when you said 2-tier, the first thing that dropped into my mind was how they've got the 2-tier air fryers now.
Oh my
god.
We're not talking about the KFC console, Cameron.
We'll get a microwavable Xbox Series X.
Make it happen.
Toaster sandwiches.
I mean, you can get the Series S toaster, so I suppose you can. I should have got the Series S toaster. I got a new toaster recently.
So the real benefit is this generation was Xbox getting out of the console game and starting to do appliances.
The whiteware market, yeah.
Where's
I'm still sad they didn't do a full-size Xbox Series fridge because I would have bought one of those, but
They did a Minecraft TNT one, and
Jesus.
it returned. I think we had to send all ours back.
Yeah.
I'm interested about discs. I
Oh, they're
don't
done.
think
No, they're super
Oh, no,
done.
no.
They're done.
Discs are done. Yeah.
I want, like, all my being, I want physical media to still be a thing, just because I know that is such a, like, diehard loyal
Yeah,
fan
for
base
sure.
for it. And I still think there should exist an audience of, like, first party games going to disc
Yeah,
at the very least.
I think there will be, right? But I think that it'll be the same thing where it's like the same thing with PlayStation, where you got to play PlayStation Pro, we got to buy the disc drive separately, and like it'll just be for the diehards. And sorry, yeah.
I was gonna say it. Even if it was a case of, like, you think of how the Xbox Series X is now, you add like a extra bit on the top for a disc drive.
Yeah.
I would be completely fine with that. It's just giving consumers options.
Yeah, and realistically, we know that like they're not going to put any big gates between the generations for a long time anyway. We're still getting games coming out on Xbox One and PS4, or at least are compatible with them, right? Like they're games that are. We have a lot more now that are like Series X only or Series only. But when this new console comes out, it's going to be a good 4 years of going, yeah, we'll still put discs out because people will have old consoles with disc drives in them to play them on. You won't have to have the latest and greatest to play all of these games because Microsoft have made it clear they're not interested in splitting people away from this. So it'll be another incremental upgrade. I think it'll be cool. I'm interested to see kind of what they do with it, but I'm not like
What's the benefits day for one for me to actually want to buy a?
I mean the
console,
fact,
except for exclusives.
yeah, right, and there aren't going to be any. So
Yeah.
It's going to be. Man, I could see us getting the next generation still having games released on the Xbox One.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like potentially. I mean, that would be an extreme example, but it is possible, especially in the indie space. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there wasn't a lot driving me towards the Series X either. Like, I love the console, but
yeah,
like
I'm interested, like, how that affects the cloud infrastructure and all that.
well, what they'll do is
they'll probably just upgrade, right?
they'll swap them
Like
out. That's exactly what they did with the Series consoles. They basically swapped out the old Xbox One X's with Series X's over time. They'll just do the same thing. It'll be just on a rotating cycle, and obviously people who pay the most will get priority on the faster consoles. People who pay cheaper prices or whatever, they get pushed down to the other ones.
Yeah, and like there's been so much stuff about sustainability and things like that, like the stuff that goes into making a disc. I mean, like, is it going to be any better with thousands of consoles running in the background?
Yeah,
But,
I mean, theoretically, if you have a server, you can run anything on it, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be an Xbox game, because if they're using Azure, they'll use it for cloud computing for everything that they do. But yeah, I'm not super excited. Again, we're still 2 years away from it even potentially coming out, and it'll probably get delayed because consoles never come out on time. I mean, look at the fucking Switch 2, right?
I Switch is an interesting case, but
yeah,
I know I'm trying to think of, like, what this console needs to do for me to justify. Like, I always want to be that day one purchaser, but
it's never. I've realized it never benefited me to purchase. I mean, it maybe makes more sense now when availability is probably going to be low and prices aren't falling for these consoles, and they probably won't fall for the next generation consoles either because chips are just too expensive. Like we're what 4 or 5 years into the Series X now, and like they haven't gotten cheaper at all. Like they're still basically the same price.
If anything, they've gotten more expensive.
In some cases, yeah. So it's so maybe that's the day one thing is actually that's the cheapest price you're going to get it at.
Yeah, and the Switch is a good example for the sake that, like, it's that whole thing where only half the game's on a disc or whatever, right? The Nintendo using cartridges for security or whatever the reason, and like half the games need to be downloaded.
Yeah.
Or streamed.
Nothing's on the thing, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I also wonder, like, how many of these they're going to make because they've committed to doing another generation, but they obviously know they're going to get their lunch eaten by PlayStation 6. So how much inventory do they actually make of this next generation? How much do they really invest in it? I'm super curious what their strategy is going to be because they obviously know they're going to probably lose out 5-1 at best for sales. Yeah. So they're probably projecting crazy people like us buying this thing, and that's pretty much it.
Well, I guess that's like everything else that they've set up this generation, though. Like you think like we had Game Pass coming into this generation. Now they got Xbox Play Anywhere going into next.
True.
Yep.
I do
Yep.
think it's going to be just all right. PlayStation and Nintendo have their console market, but then Microsoft just takes over a shit ton of PC. Shit.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe it's going back to PC. Master Race.
Seems like the way to go.
Mm.
All right. What else we got?
Power Wash Simulator is getting
We got games.
We got games, yeah. We got game announcements. We're getting Power Wash Simulator 2, which, no surprise.
Does that mean they're finally going to start putting out DLC for the first one?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they said it's
just like a human fall flat situation where you see updates of the
exactly what I was thinking. It's exactly the example I was thinking of.
What was the most recent one? Wallace and Gromit? Like
yes, Wallace and Gromit.
I think so. Yeah. Well, I mean, this one has split screen and online play. So...
Yeah, I mean, the other one has online play as well, but the host only gets achievements, so it's...
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Because I do think Power Wash Sim is like one of those games that I would just love to play with everybody.
I've never played it.
I want the achievements to... It's really fun in co-op, but I want the achievements.
Is it?
And I don't want to be that guy.
I want to be able to see the other players, have some wet t-shirt competitions, you know.
Yep, wash some cars, make some money.
Exactly. Right.
Save the
profanity.
Save the community center. Like, I know how it all goes.
Yeah.
Sequel will come to Xbox 12 PC. There's no mention of the Game Pass launch yet. You know, but the first game came to Game Pass.
I'm sure they'll get the second one on there at some stage. Yeah.
So there's that. You guys might... I haven't really looked into this much, but Silent Hill F.
This looks fucking great.
It does. I watched the trailer as well. Yeah, I am. So, thoughts?
So Silent Hill F is something they announced a little while ago. A couple of years back, they did like a big Silent Hill glut of stuff of like what's coming out and what they're working on. Because they showed off like Silent Hill 2 remake and that weird Twitch thing that was fucking awful and a few other bits and pieces. They talked about F, but they had like no details. And so this is like the first kind of thing that we've actually seen of it. It's a real different direction for this series. Which is really interesting because I mean it has always been an interesting thing with Silent Hill is that game is set in Maine, right? Like in the US. So that's where the town of Silent Hill is. And it was always like Team Silent. It was it's a Konami, Japanese developers working on these kinds of games. And now we have I think it's a Taiwan-based studio making a 1970s Japanese game. But with Silent Hill, like the idea that like Silent Hill isn't the city, isn't the town, it's Silent Hill is wherever the horror needs to be, basically. Looks like it has the sort of, she's holding a metal pipe, she's ready to beat the shit out of some weird contorted monster thing coming towards her. But obviously, a huge amount of like Shinto and Japanese religious influence. Something that's more like a Fatal Frame, actually.
I was going to say Fatal Frame cross Ju-on the Grudge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a lot of that kind of influence there. I think this is great. Like I'm super about this. I am a little, I will say, it's been a while since there's been a good Silent Hill game, obviously barring last year's remake. But like before then, I'm trying to think of like the last actual like really good Silent Hill game. And nothing is springing to mind.
Yeah. The letter F, it shows up in Japanese games all the time, like at the end of the... Does that have significance somewhere?
I don't actually know. I think they have talked about... they've talked about it, but it's like I don't think they've kind of explained. I'm sure it'll become readily apparent as you play the game. But yeah, I'm all for this. Like I'm Fatal Frame was one of those games that like actually gave me nightmares as a child. So keen to go back and experience that.
Yeah.
And actually be able to beat some people up instead of using a camera.
Playing Clock Tower.
Yes.
Good. It feels good.
I don't know how much truth this is, but some commenters said F is in the chemical compound fluoride There was a byproduct of nuclear bomb detonations that occurred in Japan in the 1940s, and the resulting flora overgrowth at the bomb sites year later.
Interesting.
Oh.
Well, because there is a lot of stuff with the
Yeah.
spider lilies and that kind of stuff, which is a big
Yeah.
big thing. Yeah, interesting. So Neobards, they've basically done like IP collections and like remakes and remasters and that kind of stuff. So I think this sounds like maybe like, is this their first? I don't know if this is their first, but this is obviously a big project for them, a big like original IP project. So
Yeah.
yeah, be very interested to see kind of what they do there. But they did also apparently work on the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. So
Okay.
they've obviously got some chops.
Yep. And it's not Bloober Team.
That was the surprising thing too. Yeah, not Bloober Team, although the rumor is that Bloober Team is working on a remake of 3,
yeah.
which I think would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the remakes for Resident Evil they've done so well that it makes sense to do the Silent Hill the same way, right?
Yeah,
So
and I'm very excited for the Silent Hill 2 remake to come to Xbox so I can actually play it, because
it is so good.
I heard it
yeah,
was
the
absolutely
audio
fantastic.
in that is so good. So
But yeah, so I'm definitely keen. Love to see more. Do they have a release date for that, or is it just kind of they're still working on it?
Darn.
Yeah, I don't think it had a release date or anything, so
mm.
fine by me. They don't need to rush it. And then this last story, fuck's sake. Forza Horizon 5 is adding 17 new achievements with Horizon Realms because they just will not let the game die. Just put out the 6th one. Stop adding shit to the 5th one.
Yeah,
Christ.
they're overcompensating for Forza Horizon 4, which is basically a dead game now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The only problem I have with this is every time TA does an exclusive about this kind of stuff, it's a month out.
Yes.
Do it a week beforehand. Like, just give me the news, let me get it done, and then move on.
No, because they want to show that they've got an inside deal so they can show what the achievements are. Because you can read through the achievements and they do look fine. It's like take 25 photos, do 150 e-drifts, 200 wreckage skills. Like, they look relatively straightforward.
This is a list that I can knock out in like a night.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm curious what the skill mode thing is, though. Because that looks like some sort of challenges. Complete skill mode in Stunt Park without driving any hoonigan.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have skill mode and free mode. So
Yeah.
Skill mode, you choose one of the realms to enter and try to rack up as much skill score as possible. This is what I do anyway.
Yeah,
Usually
sure.
when I start Forza Horizon, so it's going to be pretty easy.
I hope so, yeah.
Each revolving world has its own separate skill score leaderboard. As for free mode, the leaderboards are put to one side and you're free to enjoy the realm as you see fit. So I think this will be...
I'm hoping it's a relatively straightforward list, maybe a few hours, yeah. And it brings the game up to 3,000, which would be a great place to fucking stop.
Yep.
We'll get 6 announced this year, and then...
Yeah, you're probably
And
right.
do we know if that's around the time that they release for PlayStation?
I think, yes, actually. I think it is coming out next month.
Hopefully will close it off as complete, and then they keep the
What's
game
the
online
bet?
instead of delisting it and all that kind of business.
What's
right?
the bet
So-
we only got this update because of PlayStation 5
Almost
as well?
certainly. Almost certainly. Yeah. 100%.
So if you got to blame anybody, you got to
You blame PlayStation. Sony can go fuck themselves. Yeah. But that's pretty much the news for this week. The other thing I saw was there was some rumored chat that the Oblivion remake will be announced and released in April, apparently.
now it's April and release June.
Yeah.
I think is the...
So
But then I saw the top comment of all those speculation posts was there's some kind of modders project going on at the moment that seems like it's going to blow that out of the water anyway.
yeah, I guess.
don't know.
Well, yeah, there's always been.
Is there any interest to go back to Oblivion?
Yeah, I'd love to go back to Oblivion.
I mean, the amount of games that we already have out this year, though.
Yeah, but how many of them are coming to Game Pass? Because I'm trying not to buy too many of them.
I mean, if it's coming to Game Pass, then that's fine.
Exactly, which it will do because obviously they own the studio. So that's kind of where I'm like, okay, I'll play it. I mean, like I loved Oblivion when I played it back on the 360 days. Absolutely fantastic game, but it definitely needs a lot of quality of life improvements to make it palatable in this day and age.
And I don't think you can play it on current day PlayStation at the moment because it'd be stuck on the PS3.
Yeah, you're probably right. Actually, yeah. That's a very good
So
point.
that means that it would bring it in line, and they'll have it available on modern platforms. So
Yep.
yeah.
Sounds good to me. Still don't know where that Fallout remake got to, but hey.
Maybe they announced both at the same time.
Maybe, you know.
I mean,
What's happening on Game Pass? Cameron, you want to read through those?
yeah. All right. So games that are already joined, we have Monster Train, Galactic Air, One Nighting Outpost, Enter the Gungeon, Mullet Magic, which I think was today.
Today, yeah.
Yep. And then 33 Immortals getting added on the 18th, which I'm really hoping gets achievements, even though it's in game preview, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think it will at this stage.
Games leaving Game Pass on the 15th, so I mean, if you're hearing this
Tomorrow,
podcast,
yeah.
yeah. We've got Evil West, Liza P, No More Heroes 3, Solar Ash, SpongeBob SquarePants, Battlefield Bikini Bottom, Yakuza 5 Remastered, and Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Some pretty good games there. I don't think you would have time to complete any of these.
No, like maybe if you crushed Evil West in a weekend, but that would be a real push.
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab it because I've already started it. So
yeah, good game.
It's a really solid game.
Great game. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna pick up Liza P when I see it on like a 50% sale.
I'm gonna wait to see if the DLC has achievements, because if it does, then I'm gonna have to play it at some stage. Patreon.com/HallOfGamers. If you want to help support the show, all the money goes directly back into things like the Word Challenge and equipment and paying for Buzzsprout and all that kind of shit to basically keep the show running. Trust me, we are not retiring anytime early. So a huge thank you to Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natola Editor, Mad Lefty, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavaliers07, Old Mate Clown, Mace J, Left for Legacy, and McNulty. We literally could not afford to do the show without you guys, so thank you all so much. And if you'd like to help support the show, you know, any kind of extra content that we do, I know I haven't been doing outtakes because we do the show live now and I've kind of got the process down, but any kind of extra stuff that we want to do, we put up on the Patreon first. And we obviously talk to our patrons and we try to get them on the show if they want to be on and have a bit of a chat like we did with Cavalier. So definitely check it out. Yeah, we don't gate anything. Like if you give $2 or $10 or $100, like whatever you do. We appreciate every bit, so thank you so much.
The chat is asking, did Liza P get a physical version? Which is...
Yes, it did.
yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah.
Yep. It's still pretty expensive physically as well, though. So it's realistically probably going to go cheaper digitally.
Yeah, because I don't think it got a huge distribution, right?
No, it's so low in distribution for the Xbox games that I've seen plenty of PlayStation games reduced to $20 when the Xbox version is at full price.
That's crazy, but yeah, sometimes it's just hard to get.
Yeah.
Pre-owned copy is $48, which isn't too
It's not too bad, but it's probably more than it should be.
I mean, EB's got to buy 2, get 1 free. So if you take 1/3 of that out as well,
yeah, okay, that's probably about right.
Yeah. I mean, if it's around $30 to $40 mark, I'd buy it instantly.
Yeah.
I do think it's worth it of that. Great
game, like just hands down, fantastic
yeah,
game.
So good. Raved about it so much.
It is $60 or $55 at CEX. Just FYI. Cool.
We've also got our monthly theme, which happens every 2 months, our Biomestral Burden, where we try to encourage people to play certain kinds of games. So for March and April, we're doing Bring Out Your Dead, which is complete your games that feature the undead, the zombies, ghosts, vampires, and other spookies. So if you got some good horror games, some good zombie smashing games, now's the time to play them. How have you guys been finding this? You guys picked out any sort of interesting titles that you're kind of working on for this?
Yeah, it's really been fueling, I think, some of my decisions, I think. So I ended up grabbing Zombie Army Trilogy after you guys after Cameron played it. And then some 360 stuff. Yeah. So I think it's been good. Yeah. Zombies are everywhere, so it's so easy to play games. So
well, let's get into what we've been playing then. Cameron, tell me about Doom.
All right, so I pretty much, I think, when was the last time we did a podcast? I finished Doom, but I had to go back and do the Extra Life mode.
Yeah.
That was easy, but it took me about probably 5.5 to 6 hours.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
The length of that game. But I didn't worry about upgrades. I just breezed through it. I only lost a few lives here and there just because they're getting stuck in corners, that kind of stuff. The biggest problem going back to this game is like navigation. There's some platforming spots that don't really Like, I think platforming is fine in this game. I think it is over complained about, but there are some sections that lead to poor game design.
I think, but yeah, I guess like it was definitely a change from 2016, right? Like the fact that there's an air dash and that platforming is such a big thing.
Going back dash is so useful though. Like,
Oh yeah,
laying up to that point of you getting dash again is so mind-numbingly boring. And then as soon as you get dash, it's just like,
yeah.
yeah,
The
I'm
game is
just gonna
designed around the dash for sure. Took a little bit of getting used to
Right.
when I jumped back into it.
Yeah, it's gonna make Dark Ages very interesting if you're supposed to be clunky.
Yeah, although it looks like you might have like a ground dash, but maybe not an air dash, or like I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think I'm with you though. I think that the kind of clunkiness and the kind of more space marine style of it.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm
So
definitely keen to check it out.
that was the base game. Then I went for the DLC. So DLC 1, the missions are just overly too long.
Sure.
They're like an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. Collectibles are fine. There's a lot less collectibles in the DLC, but when you get to the second mission of the first DLC, there is an invisible wall if you're doing the extra life mode, so you have to run through it twice.
Right.
Which, with it being, so going through extra life mode disables mission select.
Yeah.
Which is which it just makes it a pain in the ass. It's the same content, like it just feels stretched out for the sake of nothing.
Yeah.
The first DLC, I think it's just bullet hell, kind of typical. It's Doom, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing really that new that they're introducing. The second DLC is all about platforming.
Oh, okay.
They go into the platforming mechanics a bit more. There is a Sentinel Hammer that you get, which really helps out with Marauders. I found those. So you got 3 missions and a boss fight. Technically, is your 4th. The 3 missions were really quick, half an hour, kind of things. The environment's like a dystopian Earth kind of type.
Mm-hmm.
Like really good environmental like artwork. The biggest problem I have with it is the last boss fight, because the boss fight is essentially a Marauder on steroids.
Oh, great. Okay.
Every time you stuff up the combo, they regain health.
Oh, well, that's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's essentially they're not eager to hit you at all.
Sure.
So you got to wait for the green, the
the
green eye
flash.
effect to
Yep.
light up. You got to get the right distance and that, but then they might bash you to shield. They gain health from that. There's so many aspects to the fight that they gain health back, and there's 6 bars. So even on easy difficulty, this is a case of like it can just take forever.
Oh, okay.
It took
Yeah.
me what
Mhm.
looked like a 10-minute fight easily became 30-40 minutes.
Gee, oh, well, that sounds like a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Is there one life
Like-
mode for the second DLC as well?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I did most of that in one playthrough, so that was pretty much fun. But yeah, just that last boss fight with it, just like it's not the fact that you will lose a life in that. Like if you're playing it easy, it's not that difficult to keep your health up.
Sure.
Because there's just those little
Fodder.
chainsaw fodder around the map. It's just making sure that you don't stuff up your mechanics, that he will just The last wave as well, he will spawn like red outlines of all the major enemies that you've played against during the game. So they become very annoying.
Right.
But yeah, got that done last night. Got that done 2 days ago, and then I went back and did the first DLC again. I like this game a lot more than I thought I would, but there's a few game design choices that just don't sit well. Like this is probably a 9 out of 10 game that is brought back to a 7 just because of some really odd game design choices that could have easily been rectified. But I'm really hopeful. Like I did 2016 prior. I've done Doom Eternal now. I'm really keen to see what the Dark Ages does. And then whether I go back to maybe I do the stack for Doom Eternal on the PC. I don't know.
Oof, yeah. Gotta buy the DLC again if you do that.
True.
All right, I played a little bit of Doom Eternal as well, just kind of inspired by what you were doing. So I finished a couple of levels. I finished like the third and fourth level, and I'm up to like the super hive on my one life playthrough, and then I'll need to do the DLC. I'm just gonna
As soon as I'm going through the super gore nest or something.
super gore nest, yeah.
Yeah. I realized it reminded me of Halo 3 and how much I hate the mission.
Cortana.
Is Cortana the one where you're on
the second, like the
just
second or third to last level? Yep.
Yeah, 100% looked.
Yeah.
It looked heavily inspired by it, and I could not get past it in my head. And I think levels designed like that just become like way too confusing in terms of navigating where you're supposed to go.
Yeah. Thankfully, the map is actually not too bad, but it's like the fact that you have to pull it up all the time to figure out where you're going is just kind of not great game design.
Yeah.
I'll quickly talk about a game. I finished up Chris Tales. So this was something I talked a little bit about last week. It is a side-scrolling turn-based RPG with some of those classic like action mechanics. So like press A when they're about to hit to do critical damage, or press A when they're about to hit you to block. It messes around with some. Yeah, basically yes. Actually, a Guitar Hero fighting style. Yeah, 100%. Well, there's an achievement for getting perfect 500 perfect attacks and 500 perfect blocks that I had to basically grind out at the end of the game, because it's just the game is like really.
You don't get it naturally.
I mean, by the time I did all the other achievements, I got the 500 attacks, because you have to grind. There's some grinding you have to do at the end of the game anyway. But the problem is, the more powerful you get, the better you get at the game, the less time you get attacked. So the less blocking you do. And there isn't like a difficulty setting or anything. So there's a part where I basically gathered up 4 enemies that just repeatedly do the easiest attack to a block, which is like a fireball, because you know exactly when it's going to hit you. And then I just kept casting haste on them, so they got like 8 turns, and they just would keep blasting me with it. But I was so high level that they did like no damage to me anyway. And it took me like an hour and a half to grind that out. But I think it's an interesting idea for a game that isn't executed amazingly. So the whole thing is that you basically play a girl whose town gets invaded by goblins by a time empress, who basically was defeated in the last Great War and has now gone away to lick her wounds, and now has another plan to basically destroy or take over or whatever. Like, you know, she has like world conquest on the mind. Typical RPG kind of plot. It has this kind of like flat 2D art style, very, very bright and expressive, big eyes. Voice acting's not too bad. Combat's good but not great. It has some time travel mechanic stuff where when you're in a town, you get a triangle of where you're at, and then to the left of you is the past and the right of you the future. And you can kind of influence things by like going to the past. Let's say, oh, this thing's been destroyed. Let's go into the past and grab it before it gets destroyed, or, you know, things like that. Like very, very basic mechanic. Interesting ideas, but doesn't really get executed. You can use it a little bit in battles too. So most enemies have 3 different forms. So like a form where they are right now, a form where they were in the past, and a form where they are in the future. And they attack you on left or right. So depending if they're on the left side, you can basically push them back into the past, which usually like weakens them, or push them into the future, which usually like strengthens them or may change them. So like, for example, there is like the little goblins, they become goblin soldiers and become more powerful. But if they're already goblin soldiers and you push them into the future, they become ancient. And so they actually stop having a melee attack and they only do magic. And so like you can change their stats and weaknesses depending on like what situation. And you also get abilities like characters like move them around. So like someone can juggle them from one side to another. They kind of explain it at the very beginning of the game where there's an enemy with a big metal shield. And what you can do is you can basically cast water on it to soak them. So like the status effect is like soaked, and then push them into the future and they rust immediately. And so like there's a couple of little things there where it's like, oh, this is some interesting ideas. Of like, okay, so if you poison someone and then you push them into the future, they take all the poison damage all at once. Or if you push someone into the past and then plant something and then pull them back into the present, it grows immediately. And so there's like kind of some stuff, but they don't really capitalize on it all that much. They also do the classic old school RPG thing of like sometimes the characters just like disappear for a bit and you just look like, oh, well, I had a bunch of shit equipped to that person, so that's great. Or this was my linchpin character that I was using for this boss fight, so this next fight's going to suck, and it really did. Yeah, it kind of feels like you go to like there's like 5 towns, like the last town is like obviously the final bit, but there's a lot of backtracking, and there's a lot of like, oh, it's not actually the final part, there's a bunch of extra stuff that we've tacked on, and now you need to go back to this place, and now you need to go around the world, and And it does the thing where it's like, at the end of an RPG where you can travel across the entire world and usually like on an airship or something like a Final Fantasy. This kind of does that, but it's like, oh, there's like 3 tiny islands in this game, but then a bunch of water with nothing in it. Like it feels kind of like quite stretched. Like the dungeons themselves are very, very short, like maybe 15-minute dungeons. A lot of like I finished this game in like maybe like 12 hours, which is fine. Like I like short games. Like it didn't need to be a 50-hour RPG, but it just felt like they got to the end of the game. They're like, oh, we need a bit more of this, so we're going to tack on like another act. That doesn't really add much to the game, but it's an interesting idea. It was on Game Pass a while ago, and it's like I missed out on it, so I picked it up. I'm glad I played through it, but I probably won't like do the stack or anything like that. Kia, what's something you've been playing?
I haven't really been doing a whole lot this week, but something that set me up for a good run was I finished the last track I needed in Trials Fusion DLC, the Awesome-Max.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been getting at me for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's probably the thing that's held me back from the most productive game days that I could have had.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just one track, Sleepy Creek, super tight with the timing, and it wasn't until I just decided to gut it out. I had a good feeling. I sat down like at the start of the week and then spent a few hours with it, and then really nailed it, and then shaved off like a whole second and a half.
Oh damn!
Of my time, and just blew it out of the water, which was really, really great. And yeah, once I got that off my plate, then it just set me up to really just enjoy some other Ubisoft plus stuff. So it's good.
Great. Cameron, have you been playing? Oh, you finished up Plants vs Zombies? Well, of course. I mean, this is the biggest news of the week.
Right, of course. Yes.
I hate RNG achievements.
Yeah, that's fair.
They suck.
So can you explain what the fuck this was?
Story.
Yeah, can you explain what this RNG achievement was to people who don't know? Because I've never played this game, so yeah.
So I finished majority of this game back in 2014, 2015. This is another one of my like getting off the 10-year-old plus games off the list. The DLC had 5 achievements that I needed to get done, which were defeat a Treasure Yeti, get 7 diamonds from a Treasure Yeti, which I thought was going to be the RNG achievements. What were the other 2, Keo?
The one where you needed the scientists and stuff for the healing thing, right?
Yeah, kill 50 vampires and then something else. Anyway, yeah. I got the first 2 done pretty much straight away. I got the Treasure Yeti ones. Like, it was slow, but I eventually got them done, like, a few days later.
Yeah, there's a good story behind that.
I was going to say, I got really lucky with it because my partner came out and I got 5 at once, and now she takes all the credit for it. And then I probably spent a week straight grinding for the bloody Vampire Superwave.
We spent a week
an
straight.
Actual week straight. Like, this was insane.
This guy.
So, the whole thing with Garden Ops mode is you're the plants trying to defend against the zombies, and you defend for 10 waves, and then you extract, and that's pretty much it, right? On wave 5 and wave 10, you have a slot machine that comes down that will give you like 3 slots, and if they're all the same item, you get a super wave. So you might have 3 tombstones, and it might be a super tombstone wave where a whole bunch of enemies rush you because tombstones spawn more enemies. Vampire Wave is a particular achievement, and we did not get it. I reckon we put 20 hours into this alone.
Yeah, it was a few hours a day, like either in the morning if I wasn't working, and or in the evening. Now it was a lot.
The good thing about it is we got it when Todd, Keo, and Stubby were in the party, so I never have to help anybody with this bloody achievement ever again. Because this achievement tested my sanity.
Yeah.
And I made a promise to myself this year that I will get as many games done as possible. I'm not going to leave a game that has 1 achievement left. But saying that, I was using the 3rd game to be my break, essentially, because the mechanics are... It's just an updated version of the same game.
Yeah.
It's just a much nicer... streamlined kind of experience where majority of the list is like kill or gain 1,000 health or kill 200 enemies.
Cumulative
You
stuff,
knock
yeah.
you knock each achievement out in like 10 minutes and then swap to a new character and
When
I'm
we
down
did
to-
get when we did get that vampire wave, that last slot took so long. The game knew exactly what it was doing. It did the first vampire, the second vampire, and then that third one just kept spinning and spinning and spinning. It had not spun for that long for any other wave.
Stevie just showed up, so I'm right. She's gonna no idea what that means, but yeah, what was I gonna say? The third game though, I'm down to like 3 achievements, which the last one's essentially a 100-hour grind. So I'll be getting that done. But at least I know
Sure. You can
I
just
can
work on
see
it.
the progression. I'm not relying on an RNG achievement. And the best thing about the third game is there is an XP boost that you can log into each day and do 5 boosts. And that basically gets you through 1/5 of a character.
Oh, okay. So that's not too bad.
I've got to do that for like 100 days. So this is probably going to be my on and off
Sure.
game where I just boost for like 5-10 minutes a day. And that will be a completion at the end of the year as well. Or maybe early next year. Man, I was so salty this game. I rated it a 0.5.
Yeah, that's fair. That's some actual bullshit. Like, it's really fucking bad.
It's like when an achievement disrespects you to the point of like you could have completed a few games and like
We could have been done with Wildlands by now, buddy.
Yeah. like I said, I wanted to get this done before I moved on.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
So yeah, Doom Eternal, Plants vs Zombies, and the other thing that I've just started getting on again was Dying Light 2.
Another zombie game.
So yeah, I'm gonna continue the theme of zombie games. I started back up Zombie last night after I finished Doom Eternal, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
And that game's really clunky.
Oh, yeah, super close. I mean, it was like a Wii U
Yeah.
game, right?
Yeah.
It was a Wii U?
Because it was
I think
Zombie
it was a
U
Wii
was the
game,
whole thing.
is it?
Wii U.
Oh yeah, it was.
But
course.
I'm set up for Dying Light 2, so as soon as I get my max level, I'm going to be able to breeze through some of those achievements next to Baron. And man, I love like parkour movement. It's just beautiful. I'm already having so much more fun. But that's me for the week.
Kia, you got anything else?
Yeah, so leading after my trials completion, I really just felt that I could put some decent time into Star Wars. So, like, I talked about it so much at the end of the year, and I really hadn't got that completion. You got the completion last week, so I'm like, you know what? Done with trials, so I'm just gonna sit there, and I smashed out everything. In the last 2 achievements I had, I was able to do, like, within an hour or so. And all I had left was to distract 20 enemies by fast talk and complete the 40 contracts. And I'm so glad the space contracts are just quick.
Yeah, and the fact that you could probably get like 3 of them in
Quick fit.
one area, just do a loop and do them
Exactly.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
40 felt like too many.
It did. Yeah, way too many.
There's not enough
and
content for that.
it's just, I would just go down onto the planet, look in the ship's contract log, choose all the ones that were space, go back into space, and just go to each planet and then complete everything. It was just go here, find this, go back to here. So good. I didn't really have a whole lot of trouble with the one where you had to take all the Syndicate ships out without damage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was
I did the ramming thing just because I was.
Yeah, I didn't do the ramming thing, but all I did was got right behind them so that they were harder, like the way that their turrets and stuff worked, kind of go out and not like backwards. So it was, I was only really getting hit by the final, by the final couple of ships that were flying around, the Syndicate ship, and yeah. So if you sat right behind it, where its burners are, you know, you could just shoot it and then just take it out pretty quick if you're using the right weapon upgrades. So that was good. It just took ages to get the hut one to spawn, and then I found a trick in the on the Tatooine space area. It was written down in one of the comments where you can. There's a spot on the map where you can see the moons in the distance in the bottom right corner of the map. If you're looking at Tatooine, you look to the. If you're looking at it, you look to the left. There's a couple of moons just over in the distance. if you look at the map and then target the corner of that section, and you fly to it, so it thinks you're going down to the planet, and it automatically turns you around when you cancel going down to the planet. And then if you fly to the left and up towards the battle aftermath section, it spawns the hut ship above, and it worked first time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it was fantastic because that pike ship was the only thing that was showing up.
I was lucky because I got both of them because they were fighting each other, so they both showed up, and I managed to blow both of them up.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it ended up unlocking it, so I was,
Yeah. But yeah. Other than that, I'd really just been doing Zombie Army Trilogy.
Before we move on from Outlaws, I just looked up the second DLC is spring 2025, so it'll be March to June sometime.
Yeah, it's probably April.
Yeah. And I really hope that they fill the game out with like a whole bunch of stuff that make people feel like it's a good game to go back to.
I'm Pirate Fortune.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm wondering if it'll be like maybe a new location. It'll probably be a small location, but I'm hoping something like relatively new, not just kind of because like I enjoyed the wildcard one. It was like fun, kind of interesting kind of thing, but there wasn't a huge amount to it. But I
give me more stuff. Give me more stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
More stuff.
Yeah.
I was doing really well at that champions table, and then they fucking anyway.
And then
exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So with Zombie Army Trilogy, I've decided to just avoid all the collectibles, everything like that. And 2 nights in a row, we managed to smash out 10 levels. So basically 2/3 of the campaign on Sniper Elite difficulty. So it's just burn through the game, and then I'll go back on the lower difficulty and get all the collectibles at my own pace. Because Stubby's finished the game. He's only got like 1 achievement left, and Ickle had already finished the game. So I've got one person teed up to help with the 4-player. And once that happens, it'll be easy just to go back and play at my own pace. So yeah, that's everything I've been playing. So
I'll get through the rest. I've been doing a bunch of backlog trash, so I've been looking at stuff that I've been like, oh, what is this? So I started up like Clouds and Sheep 2, which is like a clicker, terrible mobile port. It's fucking really boring. It's just like mind numbing, but it's been sitting there for years because I picked it up for like $1 or something. I started hashtag Kill All Zombies, and I wish I hadn't because it's bad. There is an achievement there for surviving for 60 minutes, and I managed to get to 26 minutes, I think, is my best. It gets really, like, it gets insane. It's insanely unbalanced. Partly because you were supposed to have, like, Twitch commands where they could, like, drop stuff for you. They just don't seem to work anymore. It's really fucking annoying. So, we'll see. I mean, I'm kind of... yeah.
Streamer, we're very proud of you, buddy.
Yeah, so I streamed for a little bit. It didn't fucking work, so that's the end of it. I don't know. I might, like, see if I can get it working, but it's a real pain.
No joke. I was playing Doom Eternal that morning.
Yeah,
I think I was still working Doom Eternal. And it said Neomaster streaming. I'm just like,
yeah.
No, he's not. This is bullshit. What the...
I even set up my whole Twitch
thing
and everything.
I log into it, and it's just like the most...
This is absolute trash game.
I mean, yeah, Flash kind of...
Supposed to be able to type in Space Marine and get a laser pistol. It doesn't fucking work.
Oh,
anyway,
man.
So I'm really annoyed by that. Because it makes the completion like 10 times harder. What else? I also started a game called Dex, which is like cyberpunk side-scrolling game. It's really cool. It's a little bit janky. You know, it's kind of a little rough around the edges. And so I put maybe an hour or two into it so far, just kind of chipping away at it. But the main things that I've been playing are I finished up Harold Halibut. So this is an interesting one. If you don't know what it is, it's a game that was basically all the models in the game were made using claymation and then scanned into the game. Was in development by a German team for like 10 years, and it tells the story of a mission from Earth like 200 years ago. Their ship got hit by a solar flare and they crashed into an ocean planet and they can't escape, and so everything's been kind of ripped apart. And so it's kind of Harold's daily life, going around helping people as kind of like a handyman, doing experiments. and kind of solving some slight weirdness going on. Again, it's a very it's very whimsical. It's obviously the probably closest comparison given the claymation style is Wallace and Gromit. It's kind of like that, but not as outwardly comedic. It is it has funny moments and has a lot of wacky, weird characters, but it's more an exploration. It's a very interesting narrative around the self and what it means to have a home and a purpose. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything because it's very slow to start with, but it kind of gets more interesting on the back half of the game. But I think the biggest problem with it is that there is no reason for this to be a video game. The interactivity of it provides nothing to it. It could have just as easily been. I would have watched an hour and a half short or an animated feature of it, and got the same, if not a better experience, to be honest. Because it's completely linear. There are no puzzles. You basically just walk from one. It's just fetch quest. You walk from one place, have a conversation, walk to another place, have another conversation, maybe talk to an optional character, get some slight extra dialogue and a little bit of background about the ship and stuff, and you have kind of some heartfelt moments with some people. But yeah, it just kind of doesn't feel like a game. It doesn't really.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So it's good. I like the story and I thought it was interesting, and there's this kind of funny things about it. And again, I'd like to talk more about it, but obviously it's very the story is the reason to play it, so I can't. But yeah, was a little bit disappointed by that. But another thing I finished last night was Haunty, which is something I've been chipping away at a little bit when my TV's being in use, and just as something I could play on the PC without needing a guide. This is, I think may have talked about it before. It's a sort of top-down isometric style twin-stick shooter where you play a ghost in the afterlife who falls in love with an angel. He doesn't speak, or the ghost doesn't speak, the angel doesn't speak, but they're silent, and then it's all through actions, and you kind of go through the afterworld, trying to basically try to ascend with her to Eternia, whatever heaven, whatever it is, in the afterlife, but you have these chains weighing you down, and so the whole thing is that you need to travel around the afterlife, gathering your memories of your life and then letting them go. And it's a very metaphorical kind of game, but it has a lot of cuteness to it too. The art style is very, very nice. It's all black and white with some reds. It's nice. I like the music as well. The collectibles are relatively easy to get. It has that thing where you go to a zone and it has hey, here's all the stars in the zone, and here's the name of the thing you need to do to get it. It's like a Mario 64 kind of thing where it's clean up the, one of them's called carousel cleanup. And it's okay, I probably need to kill all the enemies in this area, or I need to solve a little puzzle here, or I need to do a little platforming thing here. And so, yeah, it was really nice. I liked it a lot. It has a couple of weird things where it sometimes throws a little bit too much at you in terms of it's a twin stick shooter, but your guns have a cooldown, and sometimes they just throw a lot of enemies at you that doesn't, again, it kind of feels like the combat part of it is the weakest part of the game, and there's actually quite a bit of it. There is an interesting idea, whereas if you shoot friendly things enough, you can possess them as a ghost, and they have different actions and that kind of stuff. So one of them is a little skull with wings that allows you to jump up and fly to other locations, or one of them's a roller coaster, and you kind of got to go up and down and kind of make it go fast enough to go through hoops and stuff. It's very cute. It's very interesting, kind of a sort of experimental game. I'm glad they made it. I think the other thing that's a little bit strange about it is that you upgrade either your health, your dashes, or your ammo for your gun by collecting these stars and putting them into constellations. But you do it by, okay, it takes 2 upgrades to get a new heart, and it takes 3 upgrades for a new dash, and 3 upgrades for a new weapon. By the end of the game, I had a bunch of half-done upgrades, because I was I've done all the constellation, I have a shitload of extra stars, and I can't do anything with them. It's the first time I've ever been in a situation where I was I have half an upgrade here. And I have another half of an upgrade that if I knew, I probably would have maybe reorganized it a bit more. There wasn't a respec. It just felt like there was there should be another constellation, a set of constellations for me to use the rest of my stars and upgrades on. But overall, 15-hour game maybe. Took a little bit of grinding. You got to buy all the hats, discover all the locations, collect all the stars. It's a very collectible heavy game. But I think it's on Game Pass. It sits at a 3.3 ratio, which is it's a 1.6 ratio maybe realistically. It's really straightforward. There's not really the only penalty for dying is you lose some currency. and like you get sent back to a checkpoint, and like currency is used for buying hats, and you need to buy all the hats. So you're trying to die too much, but you can always grind it out at the end of the game.
Yeah, yeah, that was one of the ones that kind of showed up at the shows that I really liked the look of. So I should go and play that then.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. But that's pretty much me. I'm still working on Mortal Shell. I'm doing that kind of again, and also working on Redacted. I'm working on a lot of roguelite stuff, and it's kind of burning me out a little bit. I got to be honest, just repeating the same kind of content over and over again. As much as I kind of enjoy the style of those, like the kind of differences and kind of getting better at this kind of stuff, it is really fucking draining. I'm trying to find something that has a really good hook that's really going to get me invested, and I just haven't quite found it yet. So, but yeah, that's me for this week.
Cool. That sounds like everyone then.
All right. Well, then we also have the word challenge, everyone's favorite competition, which no one fucking guessed this week. Come on, guys. I want some guesses in there. I mean, to be fair, it was a hard clue. It was a very hard clue.
It's good. Make some guesses.
No one even guessed the witness. So yeah, the word challenge on our Discord, which again I need to update the panel that actually gives the Discord ID, but whatever, it's fine. We basically come up with a game, and put it into the bot, and if you guess the name of the game, you win a prize. So each week I give away a clue, starting from completely unhelpful to basically giving you the answer, depending on how your mind works. So the first clue I gave last week was this game is less than $20 US. Second clue that I'm giving today, this game is set on Earth. That's it. So I want to see again, I love seeing how people's minds work, what lists they start making, what guesses they start going for. Especially when I did the Castlevania one last time, I saw people starting to narrow in on that idea. But yeah, so good luck to everyone, and get your guesses in now. You get one guess per hour. We also have the Hog leaderboards, which is our leaderboard on TA that shows how much game score you earned in a single week. We've had some heavy hitters, and they're still at the top of the list. I've been trying to push up there, but I just can't get even close. Mephisto for the win with 15,665. Thrash Forever with 22,235. And a Grey Shark with 29,035 gamer score in a week. I do not understand how that is possible.
Yeah, and I don't know how it's possible is not on the completions list this week either.
True.
So why? Are they just starting games?
I don't know. I guess so, right? I don't know. I guess, yeah.
I don't know. All right, well, running through the completion shoutouts, we've got Super Bob, who did Deliver Us the Moon, Yooka-Laylee, The Impossible Lair, Just Cause 4, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and Watch Dogs.
He's been busy.
Yeah, man. Spice did Slay the Spire.
Which is a huge one.
Yeah. Shane did Evil West. Cobra Todd did Ride 2. Rapture did SpongeBob times 2, so the stack, I believe.
Yep,
and then Leafclaw did Ping Redux.
That's what, guys. And I guess that's probably going to basically bring us into the show. As always, we're on Discord, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. We're on your podcast platform of choice. If you like to watch the videos or you miss the VOD, YouTube is the place. Getting a few more subscribers there. Great to see some support there, so I really appreciate that.
Or on Amazon Music, but if you have an issue, it's your problem.
Yeah, no, Amazon Music. Fuck that shit. Yeah, listen to it on Spotify like a normal person, Stevie. All right. Cameron, have you got anything you want to shell?
We're probably 2.5 weeks away from April. Give a quick shout out. I'm going to do Xbox Cast Achievement Challenge, but I am going to be challenging both of them in terms of steps and completing as many indie titles as possible while streaming it.
Great.
While streaming. Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna, the treadmill.
I'm gonna just go straight back into streaming and get as many indies done as possible.
I was thinking about getting one of those like mini treadmills you can get on like Amazon and just put it in front of the TV for a bit.
Honestly, when I had,
I'm not moving the treadmill from the garage. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I couldn't. Not like a full size one, like a little mini one.
Yeah, I used to play Skyrim on the treadmill. Well, yeah, I had my TV right there. Treadmill was in the same room. Just do some Skyrim.
What?
Yeah.
The old house, I could set it up. I could just be in front of the treadmill and game at the same time.
Actually, I did just realize that I have a tablet now. I could actually cloud stream from my elliptical.
Ooh.
That'd be interesting. I wonder how that would work.
No, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You need a break. You need a break every now and then.
Yeah. The exercise is my break. Kia, what about
You
you?
don't need to be getting achievements whilst on the.
That's
bike.
true. That's true. I need to be like watching TV, so I've been catching up on Severance.
I've been putting up a couple little posts on Instagram just for like things for my gaming setup where I've kind of like added new little things and stuff like that because I've been kitting myself out with some new stuff again. So you can check out that Kia Live at Home on X. I don't even think I'm signed into that at the moment. I haven't posted there for a while. You can see me stream when I get back to streaming. Kia Live at Home on Twitch, and that also appears on my YouTube where all the other videos go at How to Fix Gaming. So.
And I'm Neomaster on everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. A huge thank you to my co-hosts, to our patrons, to our live audience, and to everyone watching at home. That's been episode 160. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Thank you. Peace
Bye,
out.
everyone.